In 2009, I had the opportunity to drive the GMC Terrain. This is when it first came out. That model was the SLE, which is essentially the base, and it was a 4-cylinder with front-wheel drive, and it cost about $25,000. And as a whole, I generally liked it. So today, I have a Terrain Denali. That's right, GM has taken the Denali name and brought that trim level to the Terrain. So it begs the question, this one's about $39,000. So is it really worth the $14K difference? I'm Greg Cavanaugh with the Gallup Journey Magazine. Let's take a look. So what makes a Denali a Denali? Well, most people know Denali's pretty much synonymous with front ends. And this is no different. You got this huge, blinged out, chromed, egg carton patterned grill with a big chunk of metal on the top to kind of shine in your face with the sun's rays and let people know, hey, I'm coming at you. You got different lights. You've got 19-inch satin chrome wheels, and you got some work in the rear on the tailgate. But most of all, most importantly, you've got those Denali badges. Those are key, because when you're driving around town, that lets people know, hey, I paid a lot of money for this cute ute. So Denali is an upgrade on the interior for sure. Technology and style. First of all, with style, you get different leather, you get contrasted stitching, you get Denali here in the seats, things like that are pretty cool. I don't know if they're worth it, but they're nice. You have this like mahogany wood insert here on the door, on the steering wheel, the shift lever, all places you touch a lot. So that's pretty cool. It's kind of like the Enclave. And as a whole, I think it kind of classes up the Terrain, but I don't know if it's necessarily worth it. But the technology is another factor. There's 4 pieces of technology that are kind of key, in my opinion, to the Denali. Okay, and they're basically all driver aids. Now, one can contend whether or not you need driver aids. I tend to think mine are here, here, and here. But let me tell you about them a little bit. First of all, when you're backing up, there's a cross-traffic driver aid. That may be the most worthwhile of all of them. With that, if you're backing out of, say, a grocery store parking spot and someone's coming up and you can't quite see because there's a big truck or a van next to you or something, it'll chime and then it'll show a little signal in the backup camera monitor. It works pretty well, actually. I already had it work on me once or twice. Now, you also get some driver aids that work on the sides of the car. That is blind spot monitoring or detection and lane departure detection. So in your side view mirrors, you're going to get a little yellow light up icon that's going to tell you when, hey, there's someone in your blind spot or you've drifted out of the lane. Frankly, again, I have eyes and I have ears and I pay attention when I'm driving. So I don't know if they're necessary, but they do work. Now the last one is out front. That's forward collision alerts or something like that. And you actually have 3 modes of strength on that. But, you know, again, you're looking forward, you're driving, paying attention. Do you really need it to tell you you're going to hit something? I noticed here in town when I was coming up on a kind of a steep incline that also had a little drainage bump in front of it, the thing started chiming at me like I was going to, you know, crash into something. Now, I did slow down, I guess, which kept me from scraping my the front air dam on the thing, but really, I mean, I was going to do that anyway. So I don't know if those are worthwhile pieces of kit, but they're kind of cool, and they come all packaged in when you get the Denali. Lastly, you're going to get GM's Intellilink Infotainment system. It's quite good. It's kind of like Sync, although not quite as good in my opinion. It syncs up with apps like Pandora and Stitcher and stuff, so that's pretty cool. But it doesn't come with nav, which I find a little odd. And it has all these redundant controls right here, which are nice to use, but it's a little redundant. You've got both. And they're backlit with red, which I found to be a little gaudy and kind of Pontiac-esque. So as a whole, I think they've made a great improvements. It kind of classes up the Denali. Is it worth it? That's another question. The 2009 GMC Terrain I drove used the 2.4 liter 4-cylinder. It's direct injected, 182 horsepower, 172 pound-feet of torque. And frankly, hooked up to the 6-speed transmission with front-wheel drive, it wasn't really a bad powertrain at all, and it gets great gas mileage, like 32 miles a gallon on the highway. Now, this model I'm driving here is equipped with the V6. Now, it used to be a 3-liter direct-injected V6, but now GM has dropped the 3-liter and added in instead their 3.6-liter direct-injected V6. This is the same V6 found in the Acadia, the Enclave, even the Camaro, and the Cadillac. And frankly, it's a good motor. Here it's making 301 horsepower, 272 pound-feet of torque. Now that begs the question though, is it really needed? Frankly, you're gonna pay the price at the pump. This cute ute here is supposed to be a compact SUV, but it gets kind of mid to full-size SUV numbers. 16 miles per gallon in the city, 23 miles per gallon on the highway, 19 combined. Now granted, this is all-wheel drive, and this V6 is pretty powerful. Now, the problem I had with it, though, was you'd think if you were going to get those kind of fuel economy numbers, this thing would feel like it wants to take off at the line every time, but it really doesn't. And I think that's more has to do with the throttle pedal, the throttle tip-in. It's very slow, it's very lethargic, so it really kind of makes you feel like you're driving around with a parking brake on. I don't know if this was GM's move to try and maximize fuel economy, but in doing so, it makes this GMC Terrain just feel kind of slow. Cool feature on these GMC Terrains is that this second row moves fore and aft. Right now I have it in the middle position, right behind where I was sitting while I was driving. I'm not the tallest of dudes, 5'8", but you can see I have adequate legroom here, so it's fine. Gives you kind of the compromise between legroom and storage capacity. Now, if you need more legroom because you're over 6 feet, you can come all the way back for a comfy, cozy, relaxing road trip style ride. However, if you need the opposite, to maximize cargo in the back, you can go all the way forward. Now you can see this really isn't usable for an adult unless you had this seat up quite a bit, you know, in a pinch. But really, I mean, if you have it this far forward, you're probably not using this second row unless you have maybe a infant in a car seat here or something. So you might as well just flip the seats down here and maximize total cargo capacity. So let's get down to the nitty-gritty. The question I asked before. Is it worth it to upgrade to the Denali trim on the Terrain? You know, my short answer is probably not. It kind of makes me think of bands again. I did that last month, and you know, I'm a musician, so I think of bands. You know, there's these supergroup bands out there where they're supposed to be, you know, the ultimate. Oysterhead is one of these examples. Now, some of you might be Oysterhead fans, and you're going to chew me out for this, but I didn't think they were that good. Now, Oysterhead was supposed to be killer. Okay, Stuart Copeland from The Police on drums. That guy's a monster. Okay, Les Claypool on bass. He's from Primus. And Trey Anastasio on guitar and vocals. He's from Phish. I mean, these are killer bands. This Oysterhead should have been sweet. Frankly, they weren't that good, and I kind of wonder if the Terrain Denali mimics that idea. Yeah, it's marginally better, but is it worth the massive price of admission to get there? I'm not sure. Once again, guys, thanks for watching. A special thanks to Rico Auto Complex for letting me drive the 2013 Terrain Denali. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Leave your comments and questions below. I'm enjoying reading them and responding to them. And of course, subscribe if you'd like and share this every place you can. Again, thanks for watching.
1923. Right? 16.